Hey everyone, AGodlessProgressive here. This is going to be a video response to Robabu Akanta. I think I said that right. If I didn't, totally apologize. This, and she made a video. I'm going to respond to her video where she made a video about the N-word campaign, and she sort of reiterated her support for it and her reasoning why, and then she talked a little about how she felt sort of unfairly sort of marginalized into this box of what people of a, I guess, a blowback or a reaction to Very Blast's, little drama he got into a couple last week or the week before, whatever week that was. And she sort of felt like people were sort of unfairly putting the whole group in a box because of what Very Blast did, the last point, I tend to agree with that. I don't think it's fair to sort of put all of them in the same box. I don't think they're all like Very Blast, I would judge people by what they do, not by, oh, this guy did that, so they all do that, So I wouldn't generalize like in that way. So I think that was a fair point. But this video is going to be about the movement in itself, and I feel like the people who are involved in this movement have to address two main issues in order for it to have true success. And the first thing I think they have to address is, what is it about? Truly, what is the goal of changing nigger to human? What ultimately is the goal? Because in your video, you say the goal is not about race. Fine. But then a little bit later, you say the goal is about taking these sort of negative connotations that have to deal with the word and sort of stripping it away and making the word lose its power, right? So then it's about race, right? Because the negative connotation to nigger is it's a racial slur against blacks. So that means it has to deal in matters of race, right? So how do you deal with the fact that you're saying it's not about race, but your explanation is it is about race? And that's sort of one of the issues I think you guys have, is that there doesn't seem to be a real reason for doing this. So I would like to know the reason. Is it name freedom? Is it race related? I mean, I'm not saying that those are not things that you should do it for, but I would just like to have it clearly defined, because some people say it's about name freedom and some people say it's about race, but it's not about race, but it is, and it's very confusing to those of us that are trying to understand what is going on and what exactly are we supposed to think about it, and if we agree or disagree. If you have everyone always giving a different answer to the question, it's very sort of confusing and annoying and frustrating. And I think we'd just like a straight answer. And on that particular question, and we would sort of like it if, I think for me personally, I would like it if someone sees this video who's in the group or whatever and says we're niggering nigger. I mean, I think it's hard to take you seriously when you say that, because that's not an answer. You're answering what you're doing, not why you're doing it. Niggering nigger means what you're doing. Why are you doing it? You know, I cannot tell you how many times I've asked, what is this about? And I get some ambiguous variation of we're niggering nigger and you should be niggering nigger too, and etc. Something to that sort of ambiguous rhetorical, that's the sort of ambiguous rhetorical response I get when I ask this question. And that is very, very annoying. And it makes me not take it seriously. It just makes me think like, oh, you guys are just, goofing around, you know. But you seem serious about it, so that's why I'm sort of, addressing this to you. So hopefully you'll be able to answer this question for me. What is it about? And please don't say you're niggering nigger. Just don't say that. That's not an answer. That is an ambiguous rhetorical way of not answering the question because you don't have an answer. So if you give me that answer, I'm going to think you don't know. That's what I'm going to think because you didn't answer my question. You answered what you're doing, not why you're doing. Not why you're doing it. That doesn't tell me why you're doing it. It tells me what you're doing. So please explain what this is about. Why do you want to do this? And the second part of that question is basically, what are your goals? And how are you guys going to get this done? Is your goal just to have everyone who speaks English to when they use the word nigger, refer to it as human? Is that your goal? Is that your only goal? Are there other goals? I mean, I would really like to see a more substantive plan. There seems to be no other goal outside of the main goal, which is to have English speakers refer to nigger as human, which I guess is fine, but there seems to be no way of getting there, other than Very Blast making 10 videos a day about it. But there has to be other ways outside of that. Very Blast only got 1,200 subscribers. He's not reaching that many people. I mean, how many English speakers are there? I don't know how many English speakers there are in the world, but I know there's more than 1,200. So how are you going to reach all those people? Second point I want to make, and it's really my main point, really, it's that, in this video, you use this sort of language, use this sort of overcoming adversity sort of language in reference to the N-word for, black people, right? And I will admit, very well said, very eloquently said, very well articulated. But the problem I have with that, and really the whole movement, is it strikes me as a very elegant and articulate way of saying get over it. And I feel that same way about the rest of the movement. It just has this sort of total disregard and ultimately disrespect for minorities' feelings about the word. When we get into talking about this particular point right here, I tend to, the things I hear, the rhetoric I hear, sounds like get over it to me. And I usually have two responses to that. The first sort of response is usually, well, that's fucking easy for you to say. No one's trying to fucking oppress you with it. That's my first sort of response. My second response is probably a more academic one. That one's a little more snarky, I'll admit. And that response is, get over it's not an argument. So I will ask you again, what about African Americans and their feelings about this? What if they don't want to do this? And it seems to be and usually what happens is it is a reassertion of a get over it type argument. And, it's just, get over it's not an argument. So, and the whole movement really ultimately seems to be based on a real strong disregard and disrespect for minorities' feelings about the issue and the topic. It really does strike me as that. And I think that is something I would like to see addressed. Dynamite Ruby made a really good video. I'll put it up on my channel for like a week. I'll probably link it down so everyone can check it out if anyone's not subbed to her. And I'm going to paraphrase what she said in the video, which is essentially, what she's basically said is, it's highly disrespectful for the majority who took that word and used it against the minority to demean and belittle and control them, to then turn around and take that word away and take away the minority's autonomy to the word and say, you don't have a right to feel anything. The word's gone now. It means human now. Just get over it. And you know what? I agree with her. I gotta say, I do agree with her. It is highly disrespectful. So, I think those are the two things that I think if you could find a way to address, I think this movement could go somewhere. And I think if you can respond to these two issues, I don't really see why anyone would oppose it. I don't think anyone is opposed to the principle in general. I just think people have other things that they feel like they need to be addressed and have not been addressed. And they just would like to have anyone, answer these questions they have. So, that's all I have. So, enjoy the video. And I await your response. Everyone else, take care. God's Progressive. Peace.